So I guess we can run this just as a fairly casual Q&A. I think what's exciting about our presentation yesterday is we did go over the financials, which some hadn't, so we can talk more about logistics if you'd like, or about the studio, or about Kuhn and I, about you all, in terms of architecture.
Like if you want to go back and see a couple of slides or questions, anything, right?
Anything. We're going to keep this casual.
Anything. Any questions?
Yeah, so you mentioned how it's basically it's going to be really intensive. It's like 9 to 5 every day. Can you break down more of the schedule in the sense of Monday through Friday and then weekend, whatever?
Right. So
I was like, and he leaves me.
He's leaving.
And he's like, yeah, about that. I think that is an important characteristic of this studio, is the rigor involved with it. That it really is a study abroad program that's intended to produce a really amazing project. This isn't free-for-all architectural travel, right? It's immersive, it's learning to be an architect through travel and through producing a project on the ground. So that's super important. And especially the work coming out of this studio will be an appropriately high level, right?
And especially in 2017, there's a great possibility we can be a part of Seoul Biennale of Architecture and Urbanism. And we will be talking with those people as well. So I am, and also, as well as Michael is looking for, yes, we want a really high quality works. And in terms of house studio, in every week, we have somebody who's been through right there.
Addison.
So what do you think? It's Monday to Friday. We run at 9:30 to 5:30. Yes. Mike and I will be walking with you, or walk with you, eating with you.
Always with you.
Talking with you, and discussing architecture and the city. But we're not only staying at studio from 9:30 to 5:30, because most of the times, either morning or afternoon, depending on the weather, we go out and then see some resident, and then we explore and getting the idea from the city, bring it back to studio. While we are riding on subway, we discuss, we're looking at the pictures, and then we reflect that back to your project. It is feel like intense 5.5 week of architectural workshop, right? It's not a tour at all.
But there's something really valuable about that aspect, because if you're going to go on a study abroad with 2 professors to enrich your own architectural careers and your own architectural mindset, it's not just about immersion and hanging out and being part of the culture, right? That's 50% of it. But how do you learn from that culture through this intense immersion and start to produce something for that culture? And that takes a lot of intensity, right? It takes constantly being out in the city with us, being out in the city on your own, right? Observing and then taking all that back to a studio project. So it's very different than being here and working in a studio about a hypothetical project that you may go to the site in Lubbock once every month, right? And see. This is about kind of breaking yourself down in a whole new way, right? And that's why it's also intended to be rigorous. And this is a skill that's really important for architects. How do you start to observe a culture quickly and produce really rigorous observations about this? That's what's exciting about it, right? So we're not just like there to experience the culture. We're going to change that culture with our proposed projects. That takes work to do that.
And in the studio, like even this summer, we talk about we work hard, we work extremely hard, right? But also we play hard.
Right.
Like we go to baseball games, and we go to basically it's Monday to Friday, right? And then Saturday, even we go out to excursions. Like sometimes we meet at some subway station like 7 in the morning. And like all day we go out to outside of Seoul, and we look around, and then we're having lunch, and we walk, we discuss, and then, all of these activities, and then come back at night, right? And Sunday is free. Laundry.
It's your gift.
Where can we find this?
It's Wiki, Seoul_2017.
I'll link it to my page.
Okay, perfect. So you said Sundays are free. Does that just mean free from like a schedule, but we'll still have probably studio to work on? Or
You can ask Addison probably better.
Go figure, right? Sometimes, review is Monday, right? And sometimes we also,
Right.
I met students in Sunday, right? If you guys have some questions, we met at the coffee shop. Seoul is, the difference between the Seoul and European city is Seoul is really dynamic. It's fast, right? Paris is boring.
Throwing those bows. Hey, I got your back. I got your back.
24 hours city. You can find the coffee shop opens 24 hours, and there's a, basically work desk. Sometimes and even late at night. I'm bringing some goodies, and then we meet with students, and then we discuss, and
Right.
we, put the prints on the wall at the coffee shop, and something like that.
It's an immersion with us too, right? We're not just in and out either. We're with you all the time as well. So we're immersing with you to kind of be these, it's not a tour guide, it's just like an architectural, oh my God, what's happening in this 25 million person city, which is also super different than European cities. High density cities are crazy. They're culturally rigorous alone, much less you studying in them or being with us all the time, right? And I think the nice thing about this program as well is it's 5.5 weeks of intensity, but then of course in Tokyo an optional excursion, that's just a vacay, right? You're still with us, we're immersed together, but it's a much different approach. It's reflection. It's time
How
for
was
reflection.
Tokyo?
I love Tokyo. It was not exactly rigorous. I think at that point we were constantly still going. We were still constantly touring, like seeing presidents and seeing different types of buildings and locations. But it was just a lot more enjoyable because at that point there was no more stress of I need to get something else done.
Right,
So the actual studio work lasts 5.5 weeks.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's important,
like here,
right?
What do you mean by it's optional?
Finally,
We get to a certain point in the studio.
and then
Let's answer this real quick.
final review, right? So that's the all 4,046 one is done, and then we are going off to the Tokyo.
Tokyo is an additional expense, so it's optional. If you don't want to go, you can go home. So that sounds awful. You can you can go right on home. No, you don't have to include the Tokyo if that's a financial. It's an additional $1,300 I think we showed. That's really important that the studio work is done, which Addison said. It's still rigorous because we're here to show you, again, this is not about a casual stroll through Tokyo. There's lots of things to see, and we're the ones who are the experts on that to take you to those places, right? To show you all these places. So it's a rigorous schedule, but it should be fun, right? If you were on your own versus going with us, we're way more fun than anybody else.
It was a lot of fun, especially going to the park who knew a lot that was happening there, being able to, and not being completely confused and lost all the time, just trying to figure it out, just being able to follow apart, being like, no, there's actually something, we're going to get something out of it where we're going.
So our program fee is, it is almost set. It can go little lower in terms of the Seoul program fee, which is this one. We got a first proposal from our third party, basically provider, but we are negotiating. We're gonna actually propose another kind of possibility to bring down the cost a little more, right? But that's not gonna be like 1,000 more less, right? So be aware of it. That's gonna be like
Hundreds
a couple of dollars off, right?
$5, right?
Tokyo program fee is basically 1,360, right? So that's less than if you're flying from here to Tokyo, basically.
Definitely.
But that includes flight, hotel, transportation.
Yeah.
Does any of this include plane tickets?
The Tokyo does.
Tokyo
Tokyo
includes.
does?
Yeah, from Seoul to Tokyo.
So from here or Houston or Dallas, right, to the Seoul,
That's on your own.
that's on you, right? But after that moment, everything is included.
Right. So your initial travel, up to you. Once you meet us, and you're within our grips, that's where we take care of everything else.
And
You take care of it, but we take care of it,
yeah,
right?
in previous years, you guys could find from Dallas to Incheon like 1,400,
I spent 1,400 on round trip per mile.
yeah,
We
or
also stopped in San Francisco.
some like really previous one. I remember like he paid about 1,200, but he went to the other way around Europe and like going back this.
Oh my goodness. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, stayed like 31 hours in Abu Dhabi.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty silly.
The U.S. and stuff, like a lot of people would try South Korea, so like outside of obvious stuff, it's a pretty easy, or not easy, but manageable to, whenever we're away from you guys, to still kind of figure out what's going on there, because I know it's a different language, so like what kind of difficulty would it be for us to kind of find our way around and just communicate with them?
Right. Language barrier is there, right? And during spring semester, I'm going to teach you just really basic language things, right? And here's like this, like cultural difference, like different countries. If you're trying to speak, they are more willing to, and they are more helping,
Right.
rather than you just say
Louder.
louder English, right? And what do you think, Edison?
I only really effectively learned to say 2 words, which was hello and thank you. And the only one that we ever really used a lot was thank you.
That goes a long way.
It does, yeah.
It's a life lesson.
People were pretty kind about us not really knowing the language, and they worked with us really well. And I think that's one of the reasons why we try to learn thank yous better, so that we can actually say thank you to them.
Yeah, sometimes good surprise is you order, you think this thing, but you're getting something else, and oh yeah, it tastes okay.
But there's also a level of, I mean, your first time going to a really different language and culture, right? Like, this is not Western culture. It's not like going to Europe, which is much simpler as a transition. I mean, I've never been to Seoul, but I've been to Vietnam and Cambodia. So it'll be my first time too. My perfect Korean.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I think that there's a level of, it's going to be okay. You're going to get through, you're going to have some trial and errors, you're going to order something like Kun said, it's going to come back and you're going to be like, oh shit, what is this? I'm going to eat it anyway, right? It's going to be okay, I'm not going to die. And we're there to help you also navigate. Also hand gestures, I mean, there's kind of a universal way to kind of speak. I mean, if you're in dire need of help and you're like, I don't know, these people will recognize your stress.
Yeah.
Right.
In terms of the safety, Seoul is pretty safe city. And this time, like next year, two of us are going, right? This year was, I went there by myself, so there's I mean, if I'm getting a cold or if I'm out of town, right? The kind of communication was a bit worried. But we have a third-party provider, which is ISA, International Study Abroad. And there's 3 people there who is Korean but also speak English. So emergency contact, no problem. And that Konkuk University also has a hospital. And then that hospital has an international clinic as well. So
Yeah.
there's no problem with that.
And we really, I mean, we're really there for a variety of, if you have any issues. I mean, my 2 past study abroads had a variety of things that I've had to take care of with students. So it's totally okay. We're there to help you, right? Not just teach you, but if you're stressed or nervous about doing anything in the city, we'll just kick you. Say, go, do it. No, I'm kidding. We're there for you.
We can freely leave the university.
No, you're locked in every evening. Right. And then in the morning, we unlock all the doors, and you're welcome to come to studio at your leisure in the 15-minute window provided. We have trackers on your ankles. You might need one, Bobby Brown. So.
Yes.
That is important to say, though. This is an academic trip, right? It is rigorous, and it's not intended for you to go get drunk every night and try to come into school hungover, right? That's totally not okay. We don't condone that. There's a cultural level of excitement, and we understand that, but we do always reserve the right to send you home. That is a real thing, and it has happened in the past. Students that get in trouble on different levels, which we'll talk more about in the spring, of course, but no, this isn't party time in Korea every night, Raya, with your no curfew. Anyway. But no, you are free to explore the city, right, at your leisure.
People went last year.
Last year, 9. With me.
Yeah.
The year before, 14.
Is there like a set number?
We do have a set number.
What is this?
Set number is 14.
Right.
Because 2 faculties going. This year was 10 because I did my by myself.
I saw it.
Any questions? Anything.
Yeah.
Does any of the program of the studio go into kind of how they deal with having earthquakes and stuff out there in that location and how?
Earthquakes are not common in Korea, South Korea, but it is common in Tokyo and also, Japan. Let's talk about the Tokyo excursion a little bit more because last year, this summer, we actually went to Kanazawa, which is about 3 hours, through Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. It travels with 160 miles per hour. It's a fast train. So Tokyo is on the east side, and then Kanazawa is on the west side of this island. And to see Sana's amazing project, which is 21st Century Museum. Either we go to the Kanazawa, or depending on how the excursion cost will folding out, there's a good possibility we can go to the other place, not Kanazawa, the other place called Tezima, which is the island actually. And Tezima and Iozima. And these two islands has the Ando Dadao and Sana. It's an amazing project there. It's a little bit hard to get there because it's a train and then we got the ferry and
Plenty of time. Pull up some pictures. It looked like he hurt himself real bad, actually.
Tezima and Iozima used to be shipbuilding, and then also there's minings. And then, as you can imagine, we are also talking about the kind of urban. This is the studio. We're dealing with a lot of urban issues, and then how the whole thing is shifting, right? By the time the mining industry and the shipbuilding industry kind of passed out, and then actually there's 3 islands, including Inujima. These 3 islands basically turn into the art project, and Tadawando and then This one is a sauna, especially a new Ryu Nishizawa. He designed it. Basically, whole island is the museum, and there's a good possibility we can go here as well. The kind of downside is you can't take a picture right when you're entering into this island, because they want you to experience more than taking pictures. But obviously somebody took it, right? But this will be an amazing architectural experience for sure. It's tentative.
Yes.
Is there any visas, anything you have to pay in terms of the airport, anything like that?
If you're not a U.S. resident, you should all get a passport, right? We'll talk about that in the spring as well. 3 months is normally plenty of time to get a passport, so if you don't have one. If you're not a U.S. citizen, there shouldn't be a visa for U.S. citizens, Kun? I'm focused on Brazil right now. I haven't even looked at Korea.
U.S. citizens, yes, you don't need a visa. If you're staying less than 90 days, I believe.
U.S. residents.
Residents? Common resident?
Do you have a U.S. passport?
Yes.
Then you should be fine. We can look it up.
Yeah. But basically, you need to apply.
Do you have a U.S. passport though? You should be able to look up under South Korean visas needed. Like, I'm taking students to Brazil in the spring, and we've had to go through that too. Like, U.S. citizens do need a visa, but citizens of Mexico don't actually. So it's kind of crazy. But you can go to the website, or we can look real quick. Oh no, we're not looking at that. But you can look at it yourself. We can help you navigate that. That's not something that we provide visa services with or passport services, but we certainly will walk you through that as a help. I have to get Elliot a passport.
This year we had Vietnamese students, and she applied it, get a visa, and get a visa in Korea and Japan, and she doesn't have any problems.
It should be pretty easy process, and we're not going to work there, right?
Yeah.
And we're technically just tourists because we're not studying at their facilities. So you would just get a tourist visa, to be clear.
You guys are staying at Konkuk University, and then you're going to meet a lot of Korean university students, and then kind of those, but you're not taking a class from that university.
Right.
The class is right here, right?
That's how we get away with just a tourist visa.
And it's a studio and a history?
No, Arch 4000 is a research, so it's Arch 4601, which is your studio, and then I don't know if it's called acculturation all the way through, but your Arch 4000 urban studies. So this is all the programs at this level are supposed to be focusing on urban conditions. That's why we take you out of Lubbock, right? Lubbock isn't the most urban. City and culture, right? So kind of a history, but cultural credit also. It's not just a history credit, right? It's very specific to architecture, city and culture, or studies, urban studies. And that's, I think that when you think about all the programs and how they've chosen their cities, especially now that you're coming at a time where there's new programs that are coming through, it's important to look at those urban consequences, right? And so our projects are not intended to be buildings or isolated interiors. They're supposed to teach you how to look at the exterior space and how to take a position on a larger scaled solution to larger scaled problems. And Seoul is just a perfect setup for that, because it's not just then about do we infill a street, there's so many other things happening at this type of density. Personally, that's why I'm super excited. Hyperdensities are something that interest me tremendously. I lived in Cairo for 2 years, and that's a hyperdensity. And there's something very different about existing in a place like that than there is in any 2 million, 6 million people. That's nothing, right? When you start to get into the 20 million residents, that's where you really start to see these amazing patterns and these amazing kind of cultural effects on the urban scale?
It's a complex network system, basically. It's infrastructure, sometimes it's visible, sometimes it's invisible. Like how they transit buses to the different levels of buses to travel. And if you think about 25 million people, the public transportation system and the communication system, that has to be pretty well developed and then applied to.
I mean, just think Lubbock is 250,000 people, right? So same amount of area, times 4 is only 1 million, right? So if we just 4 times the amount of people in Lubbock, times 25. Like now we're starting just all in the same area. That would be unbelievable. How do they live? Where do they live? Where do they sleep? How do they walk? How do they eat? Like, these are the things that we're interested in showing you and immersing you in. And then how do you begin to modify that? How do you begin to help facilitate these people in certain areas that we've strategically picked for you, right? And why did we choose these sites? Those types of questions.
If you think about the South Korea in terms of the size, it's almost the state very close to the Indiana state, right? State of Indiana. But within there's 52 million people. And almost half, which is 25 million, living in the Seoul metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Tokyo is the biggest metropolis in the world, which is about 34 right now.
Crazy.
But it is quite different, Seoul and Tokyo as well, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes we think, okay, there's every mega million and mega million people city in the developed Asian country seems to be the same, but it is quite different as well. So we can see how these 2 different cities and their networking as well.
This is kind of crazy. It says, it doesn't seem right, but Mexico City is only 9 million. So that's not even half. I don't know why I was thinking about Mexico City. Has anyone ever been to Mexico City?
Yeah.
You think of that as super dense, right? It's not even close. It's not even half. But it's also Seoul, okay, I've never been, obviously, but the newness of it, the kind of contemporary city, this kind of technology, dynamic, 24-hour mindset is also different than even Cairo, right? Cairo is pretty dirty downtown, and I feel like there's not as much newness there in that city. So I think it's exciting to think about the contemporary event city, not just the historical Mexico City or Cairo, right? Or Saigon, which are all dense, but historical. Oh, we don't need to wait.
If we send it to anybody, they don't care.
It's too late. We're almost done. That's why.
It's a 2-day trip to Sean. I know you didn't see the media center, but what else are you doing in that 2 days?
Okay, so 2-day trip is basically 2 nights staying there. This summer we went to Gwangju first. That's one of the medium-sized city. And then there's a brand new project called Asian Culture Center, which is kind of part of Gwangju Art Biennale site. Designed by Kyung-Book Ryu, who is based on the Boston connection. He's an American architect who is Korean American. It's an amazing project as well, but the size is too big. It's almost whole building submerged underground. And then there's a very historical reference to the Gwangju and this side as well. So, in the picture, it's kind of, you can't get the full perspective of this. It's not a building, it's almost the infrastructure. When you think about that size of the buildings. So Gwangju, we're going to spend a day there. And we went up there as KTX, which is bullet train. And then we moved to Busan by bus, coach. It's sleep. Arriving in Busan at night. And then next day we go to the traditional market and then fish market and all those places. This year we started joining with eating live octopus. go to beach. This year we
Glass out.
Yeah, joined with University of North Carolina group. So we meet there, over there. We go to the cinema center. And we didn't go to Seoul University, which is our kind of sister university in Busan. But maybe next year, right? Meeting their students. I mean, this year there's one student from Seoul University came over and he actually bring us to some tour of the Busan as well.
Yeah, do you have questions also for Addison, I guess? Bye, Josh.
You can have any questions, like
Yeah,
such
about
as,
anything.
such as food or anything. Transportation. Huh?
Go to Lunchbox.
Lunchbox. I mean, a lot of times I'm going there as well, right? In a there's a lunchbox place. Usually like $4, $5, $3. Yeah. And it's decent meal. Right?
It was weird because at the beginning, a lunchbox meal, I did not feel full afterwards, but at the end of the trip, one lunchbox meal, and I felt full for a good long time.
They lose that weight, right? Walking around.
You get used to the different portion sizes.
I'm counting on it, right?
The other thing is like, we actually explore the city really well. Like first day, orientation day, how many miles we
walked 14 and a half miles.
Yeah. It's healthy.
Up mountain too.
comfortable issues.
Right.
And back down the mountain.
Yeah.
How was the weather? Let's say.
The weather, it was nice pretty much all the time. Good jeans, t-shirt weather for probably 80% of the time. A few times it got hotter. It actually gets kind of chilly at night with light jacket. It felt good.
Rain?
Except for final reviews, which sucked.
Final review day, it was
Everything was soaked.
pouring
That sucks.
rain.
I think only one, it sprinkled every now and then, but that was the only day it actually rained. Which was
If you're looking at the schedule, actually, our studio starts a little bit earlier than the other studios, right? Other studio overall studios, because when it gets to the July, it's become rainy season and it's become hot, all those issues. So we are starting 27th of June,
27th of May.
May.
We start the day after right there.
Arrive chicken Monday. Oh yeah, we start the day after. Or the Monday after you get there.
So it's
You'll have the
kind of
weekend.
27.
Oh yeah, it's wrong.
It's the 22nd.
You'll arrive, it takes a whole 24 hours to get there, right? So you'll leave on a Thursday and you'll get there on a Friday.
Wait, so the 25th year we're gonna leave? Or is it the 26th?
You'll leave the 26th. You'll arrive, this should say 27th. Okay. Classes get out like May 4th or 5th or early. 6th.
Like after we actually pick, should we start our flights and
Yeah, and we'll have an acculturation class. So in the spring, there's a 1-hour credit class that you take with Kun and I, and it's a once a week type of deal. And we walk you through during that class logistical things. You also have, work to do, and
Absolutely.
we'll have a cultural kind of handshake, right? We'll get you through all this, all the plans, all the what to wears, all the, and I mean, I think thinking about the studio, I think Kun and I are both rigorous professors, right? You're well aware probably of both of that, and I think that that's an important aspect of this particular trip. And I think it's also being with two really well-traveled people. Like I feel like I should say, since I've said I haven't been there so many times, I have been to 26 countries in my lifetime, so I can navigate most things. So I think that you're going to be rigorous and okay and see a lot of awesome things between the two of us being there.
I would like to say it is a really rigorous studio. We worked our asses off, but it was so rewarding because we still have those excursion days where either a whole day during the week we'd go somewhere, or half the day we'd go somewhere within Seoul and see something. So we were still going out and seeing and doing a lot. yeah, we were also still working a lot as well, so it was
Right.
very well rounded on what we were doing 24/7.
Right.
What's the process for like being able to print and get all of your modeling supplies? Is that also included in the program?
Yeah. For final reviews, the printing will be provided, like big prints. And then, because in the studio space, we're gonna have 2 printers. And the printers, we will provide initial cartridges and papers, so you can print.
The dorm rooms were comfortable. The beds were actually a little too comfortable.
That's just because you were not in them enough, right?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so Busan excursion or all of these excursions are also included in the program.
With the media model going on, like what exactly is the focus of it and what can we kind of expect for what's going on?
Right. I want to put that into a little bit surprise. But project title is Imminent Inception, right? And the Biennale title is Imminent Commons. So, you know, like Edison was talking about, it's really vigorous program, right? And then in the final review, actually, there was a reporter from the magazine, Korean architecture magazine, came over, and then she started thinking, wow, this is great. And then you can see behind this screen, actually, the studio has been published in September issue of Architecture and Culture, Korean magazines as well.
And so the students list that as a publication of theirs, right? That goes on their CV. They've been published.
And I didn't ask to sit here because he came over just picking up the magazine that just arrived like 2 days ago. Yeah, during the culturation class, right, in the spring, we're gonna have like, okay, before 8-week checklist or before 6-week checklist, like, okay, passport, airline tickets, something, right?
Right.
Getting even like adapter for your household.
How much do you
guys
have?
want to be well prepared for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Travel tips.
Travel tips.
Yeah. I think when I was with Rona, I carried one bag that was a rolly suitcase. I just decided to check it because I just didn't feel like carrying it. But I got some packing tips, man. I don't like things.
Especially, like, yes, you're gonna bring your luggages right to Seoul. But for the Tokyo excursions, we want to be just one backpack because we could go to the island and the other areas.
All right. Good?
Well, this is checking out the dormitories on right before the Tokyo excursion. So where will the rest of our luggage be? Well,
After the Tokyo excursion, you're returning back to Seoul, Incheon Airport, and that night you're staying at the hotel near Incheon Airport. So before we go to Tokyo, we're gonna go there first and then drop our big luggages and then put the bag and go to Tokyo. And then after you come back from Tokyo to Incheon, you're staying at the hotel, pick up your luggage and then come back.
All right.
All right. So, I mean,
Good.
honestly, it's a lot of money, right? But compared to the other program, I don't think our program is expensive.
No, we're cheaper than Seville.
Yeah.
I noticed yesterday.
That's
crazy.
surprising because Seville has Texas Tech facilities.
Right.
But more expensive.
Not as creative with their budgets.
But what I'm trying to say is it's a kind of investment and then spending 5-6 weeks in different countries. I personally, after this program, you guys have a different kind of attitudes about the architecture and urban and the city.
Right.
I'm focusing on it. So with the money and everything, you have to decide what. So what I'm saying is go to other programs, information session as well. But put your first choice. It could be Seoul, or you may change, right? Put the first choice for your selections.
Yeah. And it is an investment. Sorry, go ahead, Spencer.
I just had a question about the studio. So, like the studio space. So we live in the dorms and then we have to, and then we walk or whatever.
Right.
To the studio space. Is the studio space kind of like a, 24-hour open thing, or is there certain times that we can and cannot be there?
Studio will be 9 to 6, that space, right? So we can still kind of tape what we've been doing, right? But they open at 9 and close at 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other times,
We were just in coffee shops, 24-hour coffee shops, probably 90% of the time outside of the studio. Very few times we worked in our dorms. But most of the time we just went to a coffee shop.
it's not 24 hours. Sorry. Because once...
The city's also your studio,
yeah,
right?
It is, right?
It really is.
Once we trying to
Light.
borrow basically to rent a place to the Konkuk University, but their semester and our semester is not matching well.
I can imagine.
When you get there in May, it's about their midterm period, and in mid of June, they're final, right?
So
Yeah.
the wall behind is where all of the
Work
software
is, yeah. And I think that just to add to that, just generally, whether it's our program or some other program you're going to take, this is an opportunity, but it is an investment, right? And it's one thing to pay. I mean, I can understand the value of traveling. I traveled for about 9 months backpacking, and there is a value to that, but there's a significant different value to studying with 2 professors about an urban condition, right? This could be about any of them, and how you really begin to make that choice. And it should be about enriching your architectural abilities and experience, right? It's a dual. So I think it's important, lastly, to say that this is intended, our program is intended to be a really rigorous project and immersion, and we do work hard and play hard, right? So it's not all work, no play, but I mean, we have rigorous play schedules as well. So I just wanted to say that again, because I think that it's important to think it is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And just, traveling is something you should do multiple times in your life. So when you graduate from your master's program, I mean, hop on a plane, go tour, right? But that's not what this is. This is a rigorous, directed, we also have lots of things that we want to show you and lots of things that we get access to that you wouldn't, right? So I think that that's another thing to think about. And we're real excited about all of it. That's the other awesome thing.
Yeah. And I born in Seoul as well, and spent 20 years over there.
Right.
Because once, I think it's 2 years ago, when we first starting the program, and one of Seoul Studio students was surprising I'm speaking Korean.
That's ridiculous. Now, if I was speaking Korean, that would be an appropriate surprise. Glass of wine.
So I'm not.
I don't speak Korean.
So what I'm saying is I know Seoul very well.
Which is
I
also
know where
awesome.
you guys bring it to, and even like food.
That's actually the most awesome part of this. Between going with someone who really knows that city is a way different experience than going on your own.
Anything? All right.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.